So, hello everyone. It's Thursday, December 22nd, 2022. Christmas is only a few days away, and I hope everybody's excited for it to be with their family and to celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ slash the Prince of Peace. But today we're going to talk about Zelensky's speech to the U.S. Congress in person yesterday and a bit about Russia and how they're looking to mobilize their military. So, let's dive into it. So it's being said a lot that they are on the offensive and winning battles, but at the same time, Ukraine's completely decimated, folks. 80% of that country's without power, and Russia's already taken over 20% of the country. And I mean, Zelensky knows that they are losing and will not win unless NATO gets involved. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been there in person yesterday and, basically begging for the United States and NATO to get involved more. But throughout the speech, there was a lot of talk about freedom and democracy, but really at the same time, Ukraine is really not a democracy or completely believes in freedom. I mean, Zelensky jailed opposition parties and opposition leaders at the beginning of this war and ones that were more pro-Russian. So that's not really being in a democracy either. And I'm pretty sure that they also locked down during the COVID lockdowns and took people's freedom away. And I mean, it's the same thing here, like in the West, even in Canada, and of course the United States, which we're talking about here, is they don't completely believe in freedom either. I mean, they enslaved us and took away our freedom the last 2 years and such. So, I mean, they don't really believe in freedom, and they keep surveilling us more and more and spying on the American population. Even same with here in Canada, they're spying on us more and more. Here in Canada, they're taking guns away and people's gun rights and hunting rights away, and the list just goes on and on. So overall, don't kid yourself. These people in the U.S., Canada, Ukraine, etc., they don't completely believe in freedom and democracy by any means. And but moving on, there was a lot of stuff said about being allies, like allies in this battle. We're allies in this battle, Zelensky was saying. Russia will strike against other allies. Like, using the word allies is a very powerful word because it basically means that, like, we're in this together and we're one and there's no going back and we're going to do this together. Like that, that's what that kind of language means for sure. And it was interesting. He said our war is against the Kremlin, not the Russian people. And we want to liberate the Russian people. And he's making it sound like everybody in Russia hates Putin. But really, the reality is the majority of that country, probably 80% of that country, supports Putin in this war. Like, people absolutely love Putin in that country. Like, don't kid yourself by any means. But overall, this was to try and not only convince the American public to basically join the war, but this was a speech and a message to basically the whole Western world and all of NATO, including us here in Canada. And frankly, Zelensky didn't do a good job, at least at convincing me to, go to war with Russia and to get involved in this war. But I mean, he certainly has convinced the Congress and all the warmongers. I mean, I think out of the whole Congress, it was something only like 11 people out of that whole entire Congress voted against giving more aid to Ukraine and supporting this war. So it really goes to show how much the United States really wants to go to war with Russia, which is scary because it could end in nuclear conflict or something very, 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 very drastic. But moving on, it was interesting. Medvedev, who's actually a former Russian president, went to China yesterday on the same day Zelensky went to the United States to visit Xi Jinping and to have a meeting there and kind of like another red carpet kind of celebration or whatever, like they did with, or another red carpet welcome would be the better term to use, just like they basically did for Zelensky in the United States. And this really goes to show that things are just being put, the lines are being drawn more, and it really goes to show where the alliances are more than ever. And they're just preparing for this to turn into a bigger conflict. And I think, at this point, we could be weeks or only months away from this turning into a bigger conflict and World War III really kicking off. I hate to say it that way, but it's just the truth. It's just really the awful truth. And World War III has already begun. I kind of said this like right when Russia invaded Ukraine as well. And it's also interesting, Sergei Shoigu, who's like the head of leading the operations in this war for Russia, came out and said that Russia is going to mobilize 1.5 million troops, and they're going to deploy Sarmat nukes as well, along with these troops. And I guess they just had a huge blank check, basically written like almost like a Lend-Lease Act, like the United States just did with Ukraine for their military effort. So, I mean, it really goes to show how much they are going to take this war seriously. And I think it's something like they're using like 30% of their GDP to fund this war as well, Russia. So they're damn serious and they want to go all out. But besides that, it's about all I have to say, folks. And hopefully you find this informative and interesting. Peace out.